when video games don't feel fun anymore. I saw this video show up my recommended, and this is perfect stream content.
When I was a kid, video games were magical, and every moment I spent playing one felt special. But now, all these years later,
man, KH2 is such a good game. I love KH2 so much. If you've not played speaking of, remember we were talking about people with these twig arms? Yeah, Roxas is one of them as well.
Playing one felt special, but now, all these years later, things feel different. I can confidently say I do enjoy games, otherwise I wouldn't play them, but I can also confidently say there's often something missing, and sometimes that feeling of enjoyment wavers.
I think a big part of that is, I don't know what she's going to say throughout the video, but I think a big part of that is...
Video games aren't fun for you because you're old, bro.
True. No, I think a big part of it is people not giving themselves to the game. What you, like, you know, how many of you are like this? You sit down to play a game, and you have your second monitor open, you have like a YouTube video open, you have a stream open, or you have your phone, and you're watching a video as you're playing the game, right? Like, you're not experiencing the game. You're playing the game, don't get me wrong, but you're not really... Like, Josh Strife Hayes has talked about this. You're not really giving yourself to the game. The game is trying... You can only have fun with a game if you are willing to experience it. I only listen to other stuff the game has no story, like Minecraft. Yeah, that's fair. My Honkai Star Rail is on my second monitor at the moment. Exactly my point, right? Like... I have this habit as well where I will, you know, I'll watch a stream where I'm gaming, or I'm watching some, like, you know, I want to watch a 4-hour video on the history of the Roman Empire. But if you're not willing to give yourself to the game can't give you anything. It can only do so much.
Even when I play retro games from my childhood, I don't quite feel the same as I did back then, so...
This is a game I've never played, but I'm aware of the many memes.
As a heads up, this video isn't really an argument of video games were just better back in my day, even if they low-key were in some cases. But
especially right now. Especially right now. People have gotten very used to mediocre. Like, you see these games come out, and people are like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's okay, like... I don't want to play okay. I've played hundreds of games. I don't want to deal with okay. I want to play good. I want to play great. Is every game going to be Elden Ring? No. But I don't want to play something just mediocre. I only have so much time. Yeah, as a kid, you know, you'd rent a game from like a Blockbuster or something, and you wouldn't know what it is. But when you like I don't play that many games right now. I even play, like, you know, I play more than a lot of people, but maybe I play, like, you know, 12 hours a week. And that's most of it on the weekend. I don't have time to play games that are just, like, mid.
When I've searched online in the past for an explanation for this feeling, hoping for some kind of insight, I've seen some just call it an issue of nostalgia. That, in your memory, those moments seem much more fun than they actually were. But I like to think
certainly when you've experienced less, they certainly feel more exciting. Like, when you have less when you have less to compare it to, you have less to know if it's good or bad, right? Like, if you're a kid growing up now and your first video game is, I don't know, pick something people don't like, Dragon Age Veilguard, just pick Starfield. Like, yeah, like, here we go. If your first video game is Starfield, understandably, you're probably going to really enjoy it. But if you've played, you know, 5 Elder Scrolls games before Starfield, you're like, this is Elder Scrolls in space. I see what this is.
That's not the case, at least not entirely. I think a better explanation, or maybe the one I simply choose to believe, is one that doesn't discredit the legitimacy of my past experiences and feelings.
I think it's Spyro 1.
When we were younger and just discovering video games for the first time, they were new and unfamiliar, so of course they felt special.
True.
We were also less judgmental, less cynical, and therefore less difficult to please. We were more playful and creative and could create new ways to enjoy games on a whim without much thought.
Very true.
But as you grow up, you naturally tend to become more burdened by, well, life. You become more stressed out, you have...
I think another thing is playing a game and trying to beat it. Right? People try to, like, meta game everything. They try to finish games rather than trying to play a game. And again, it makes sense, right? You have a limited amount of time to play a game. So it makes sense why you're trying to progress. But, you know, as a kid, I would go around, you know, in Jak 2, for example, go around the jetboard arena, just like messing around, or fighting enemies that I've already beat before, or, you know, things like that. Like, Kingdom Hearts 1, I would just grind out levels. I've done multiple playthroughs of KH1 where I didn't leave Destiny Islands until I got Scan, right? But this is something I would just never really do now.
Less free time, or at least it feels like it. Many mental illnesses like depression can present themselves as we enter adolescence and adulthood, resulting in loss of interest in the things we enjoy the most. And even if you're an optimist like me, it's kind of impossible to match the positivity of your kid self when you've now got to deal with all of these things basically every day. So as an adult, this all can make even new gaming experiences feel tired. Again, there's the argument of modern games just not being very good in a lot of cases, but I find even when I play classic games that I hadn't played before, I still don't quite feel as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And on a more obvious note, in the case of having played a game countless times through the years, it really just makes sense that it would lose that spark over time. So,
I can see she's a big fan of Kingdom Hearts. There's been so many Kingdom Hearts clips in this video, and I'm digging it.
What can we do? How can we feel excited and alive like we did when we sailed the seas in Wind Waker for the first time, or when we first discovered Pokemon, or any of the other games we grew to love? Well, I think short of ditching all of your responsibilities and reversing decades of emotional and psychological development, there's probably not really a way to fully bring back that exact sense of wonder you had in the past. But there are most definitely ways to get excited about games again, even if you've played them a dozen times before, and despite life being a million times more difficult as an adult. So I'd like to share a few of the things that have helped me that I've either learned over time or that
I think the problem with throwing away your responsibilities is you do start to... There's only so long you can play video games as an adult with responsibilities before you start thinking, I need to do something. Right? Like, maybe like a week you're fine. Maybe 2 weeks you're fine. But there comes a point where you're like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm just making my life worse. And this is the problem that, like, when I left high school and then when I left uni and I wasn't really doing as much, like, there was a period where I felt like just really, really down because I think it's also just getting into, like, a rhythm, right? Anything you get into a rhythm with, you're gonna start, like, you're gonna start feeling worse about it. You need to shake things up. And it's been hard to break out because my brain just, it's comfort, but it's not fun. I think is a good way to put it. Right? It's easy to do, but you're not enjoying it as much.
Picked up from others going through the same things. This is all technically from my perspective as a retro gamer. I'm typically not very interested in modern games with rare exceptions. But most of this is pretty universal, so even if you're not into retro games...
Another game I need to play at some point.
And also, if you enjoy the video, consider liking and subscribing since it really helps the channel out and puts a smile on my face.
Yeah. I don't know why I wasn't subbed already.
Making your gaming space comfortable is a huge help in allowing yourself to enjoy playing games again. If your room is cluttered and disorganized, I don't know about...
Let's not talk about my room. I have my camera framed in a way that you cannot see the mess.
And allowing yourself to enjoy playing games again. If your room is cluttered and disorganized, I don't know about you, but I find that super stressful and it makes me just not want to be there. I also find it really helps to surround
Great, I love that.
myself with things that I like that make me feel happy and at peace. In my gaming
Wait, was that a Game Boy? Hold up, was that a Game Boy Micro? Hey, yo, it is! Wait, okay. Hold up. That's... Game Boy Micro. That was my first... Nintendo console. Oh, man. Okay. This thing was awful to play on. It was so small. It was so bad. But even so, I miss it. I miss it so much.
With things that I like that make me feel happy and at peace. In my gaming space, I've decorated my desk with my favorite things, gotten an ergonomic chair, brought in a bunch of blankets, and I've got a little futon I can relax on if I'm playing handheld games. It's not exactly where I want it to be since I don't have tons of money or tons of space, but
I know that feeling. I definitely know that feeling.
I take pride in what I've set up so far, and it makes it a lot easier to relax and enjoy myself while I game. Even if it's going to be a work in progress, just create a space you can feel comfortable in and throw some of your favorite things in there. I think this is a really good place to start, even if it does take some time and work to get everything just how you want it. Something I've found incredibly useful in enjoying games again is retro achievements. It's an achievement system integrated into the retro art.
I know a lot of people don't like the idea of achievements. And I'm kind of mixed on it. Especially when you can put yourself into the mindset of I need to progress to the next achievement. But I guess if it's something that sort of drives you to play the games, and I don't know, it's like them never usually go for them. Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on it.
Emulator, as well as having some other emulator options depending on what you're playing. Not only will completing all of the achievements mean that you've 100% a game, but there are often really unusual and difficult achievements that are incredibly rewarding when completed. For instance, getting a lucky egg Chansey in Pokemon Crystal, or completing Twinkle Park as Amy in Sonic Adventure without using the jump button more than 3 times. Even if this sounds super tedious at first, I think you should give it a try because it honestly adds a lot of challenge and hype and has you doing things in a familiar game you might have never done otherwise, making everything feel fresh and exciting again. Your mileage may
I think it's a fair
with this
take.
one. I mean, some people exclusively prefer a cozy and laid-back approach to games, but if you've played the same game dozens of times before, I think it's definitely worth looking into retro achievements.
Yeah, this is why I've enjoyed going back and playing Dark Souls 1 and just doing stupid builds, right? You know, I'm gonna play the entire game using, like, I'm gonna, like, you know, do a pyro run or doing a mage run, you know, not doing things which are like a pain to play, but doing things that I wouldn't normally use. This is a big one. Very big one.
Being present in the moment is really difficult these days with social media and smartphones low-key ruling our lives. Or at least I know I have a hard time with being glued to my phone. And it presents a constant distraction from even the things we normally like to do, including gaming. My recommendation is to dedicate time for gaming where you're disconnected from social media just like the good old days. Let yourself be immersed in what you're playing because, like, how are you supposed to enjoy something if you're always distracted by other things? Our attention spans are becoming shorter and shorter, and that's changed the way we enjoy and interact with just about everything. So try slowing down, turn off your phone, maybe grab a snack and a drink, get comfortable, and dedicate time to allow yourself to really experience and have fun with a video game.
I do not get while people scroll social media, so much I get bored. I barely use it outside of YouTube. Even so, like, even if you're not doom scrolling like TikTok or Twitter, you have been sitting in a live stream for the past 5 hours. Like, yeah, it's not doom scrolling, but it's basically the same thing.
Free of distractions. Finding others that you can connect with over a shared interest in video games is pretty easy thanks to the internet. And having discussions about the things you enjoy and are passionate about can help keep that passion alive. Forums aren't quite as prevalent as they used to be, but there's no shortage of subreddits and Discord communities out there, so it's worthwhile to get involved and maybe even make some friends you can discuss gaming with. There's a chance you're like me and have trouble with being a little socially anxious even from behind a computer screen, but that in itself is a good reason to put yourself out there and break out of your shell. You don't even have to play games together if you don't want to. I mean, for retro gamers at least, that can be difficult.
Sure.
But just having others to talk to goes a long way in my opinion. Even if it might not be possible to recreate that old sense of childlike wonder, I hope this gave you a few ideas on how to get excited about video games again if you've struggled with that like I have. If you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to add that's helped you personally, feel free to leave that in the comments because I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my channel members and patrons. If you're interested in supporting
this
the
is a
channel,
really good
liking
video.
and subscribing helps a lot, or if you're feeling spicy, consider becoming a channel member or checking out the link to my Patreon in the description. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
That was a good video. I liked that. I hadn't seen her channel before, but I got it recommended to me. When am I streaming Wilds? When I can run the game on my computer. That's honestly the main thing, man. Like, the performance of Monster Hunter Wilds is so bad. It's awful. What are my specs? Here's what we're running. We're on a 3600X, 6750 XT. I need to upgrade the CPU if I'm going to play the game. This is bottom tier CPU.